You're listening to the Vancouver Canadians pregame show powered by North Beach Agency. Tyler Zickel with you here on the Sportsnet Radio Network, and we're joined by a very special guest, none other than right-handed reliever until this week, now a starter, one and only Alex Nolan. Noel Nasty, cheers to you. Happy Wednesday, and thanks for joining us.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Certainly been an exciting season thus far. Lots of new opportunities, some familiar faces, and doing it all in the home away from home here in Hillsboro. So for you, what has this season been like, starting in low A Dunedin, coming up here to join the Canadians, second stint with the C's, albeit at a different level, and your first year in high A? How's the mental, how's the spiritual, how's the emotional through the first 80 games?
Man, that's a lot of questions. The first one. Well, you know, being back with Vancouver Canadians is honestly, it's very heartfelt, and it means a lot to me to be back with this team. I love playing for Vancouver. I'd love to play in Vancouver, but Hillsboro's, you know, the ground crew here and the team here is doing a really good job making us feel like we're be home, but obviously you can't compare it to Vancouver. Spirits are high. Spirits are good. You got good guys, big clubhouse, and a lot of good energy towards putting together a productive season.
It's certainly been a roller coaster ride for you as a professional. Obviously, you started your career with the Jays. The pandemic happened. They said, thanks, but no thanks. We're going to have to part ways. And then they brought you back. And I read that article that you connected with Steve Ewan of the Province to talk about. And the fact that you said it was kind of like you wanted to prove it to your ex-girlfriend that what they're missing out on. So I really love that analogy.
It's, you know, I think that's been that's kind of been the topic of the season for a lot of people with me. And as I said when I came back, and a lot of people were like, hey, no, Nolan. And, you know, I said, yeah, back from the dead, man. Like, ready for it to happen again. And I knew when I was released, I knew I'd be back. I knew the kind of caliber player I was. I knew my work ethic was there. And I had a great surrounding family around me. And it wasn't over, man.
Where does that work ethic come from? I see on your Instagram story, your late nights in the gym, even after an outing or a start coming up this week. You're a guy who's early at the field, stays late, gets those extra running laps in. I mean, where does that work ethic come from? Because it's not something necessarily you're born with. You've got to instill that in yourself and make it a habit, which it seems like you've done.
That work ethic, and that is something I'm very proud of, and I'll never turn it down, is it actually comes from shout out Brock University, and not necessarily something they did, but something that was already there. And it was, you know, playing at a school in Canada that when I had come down to the States, people go, where, like, what school? Okay. Like, he must not be good. Like, all right, you don't play at a D1, D2 in the States. So going to this school really, you know, initiated to me like, hey, how bad do I want to play professional baseball when I'm in college, when practices aren't mandatory? Nobody's going to make me go to weightlifting. Nobody's going to make me really be great. So how bad do I really want it? And coming from a Arizona high school where it's, you know, 5 a.m. every day, conditioning at the track, practice every single day. Guys are fighting for D1 opportunities, and to go to this school and have that not be there, you really think, okay, like, do I really want to go work out every day in the wintertime? Really, do I want to get out of a warm, comfortable bed? And there's a saying by Cameron Haynes that says, you know, nothing great is ever done being warm and comfortable. So that's kind of where it comes from, and that's really where I turned the switch. And those late nights are really just me, you know, what can I get how can I get the most out of my day? If it's the last 15 minutes of the day, like, okay, 15, 20 minutes, all right, I can squeeze a little bit more time out of the day.
That seeking discomfort mentality, I think something that in this day and age isn't necessarily a part of the general human population, especially when we have all the world's knowledge here at our fingertips. We've got anything we could possibly want, literally a click or two away, down to food being delivered to our doorstep without us having to get off the couch. So it feels like now more than ever, the guys like yourself who can train themselves to seek that discomfort and revel in it, not only are they going to thrive, but in those situations where discomfort happens on the field, your body is already prepared and you're ready to take on that challenge because you've conditioned yourself already.
You got to look at, I tell it to my teammates, you know, when the opportunity comes, that Yeah, we're playing in Hillsboro. We're not playing in Vancouver as we all want to, but why can't we not beat Hillsboro Hops at their own field? Why can't we not have a better record than them at their own field and be like, hey, sorry, like we're better than you at your own field? I think you gotta look for those opportunities in in almost negative situations. What's the best thing we can get out of it?
You bring up a great point about home field advantage, and circling back to the idea of obviously everybody down there in the clubhouse would rather be at the net, they'd rather be in front of the fans in Vancouver. You know how electric that is. So do a lot of your teammates because of playing with the Seas over seasons past, back when it was in the Northwest League. So
yep.
We saw it a little bit in Spokane last week. Some of those games where the Seas jumped out to that early lead, but the Indians really rode their home field advantage, that energy, that spirit of the crowd to make
yep.
good on those opportunities presented to them.
Yep.
Late. What are we missing out on this year by not being in Vancouver? It feels as though that little extra edge to turn it up to 11 to make a Spinal Tap reference, that's what's kind of missing out.
Yeah, the little extra edge you're talking about, it's momentum. It's the momentum of the crowd. And, no one on this field, no one on this team wants to say, hey, that's the reason. Like, then that's just not who they are. That's just not how they are as competitors. But it is there. It is an X factor that we do miss our Vancouver Canadian fans, and we know how loyal they are to us. Like, 2018, we didn't have the greatest record either, but every single night was sold out, and they were still there for us. So the best we can do is, give them a winning record here, and maybe perhaps get back there at the end of the season.
You've got a start coming up tomorrow night after working out of the bullpen this season for the Seas thus far. What's the mindset going into the start as opposed to coming out of the bullpen? Obviously, when you come out of the pen, you can go full bore, give it your all each and every pitch, and not have to worry about saving bullets for your third, fourth, or even fifth inning. Where's your head at right now getting that start tomorrow?
It's a new opportunity for me. It's an opportunity I'm familiar with. I've always been a starting pitcher. This is actually my first year in the bullpen, and I got to do more for this team. I gotta perform better for this team. I got to carry the weight a little bit more for the team, and I take it personally. Like, I want to be a guy the team depends on. I want to be a guy that the infielders and outfielders behind me go, all right, like Nolan Day, let's go. And I got to do more for this team, and it's a great opportunity for me to show that.
I know you've got a busy afternoon ahead, so we'll wrap things up with a couple of hard-hitting questions. First of all, you're a Star Wars guy. If you had to pick one character that you're most like in the entire canon, who is that?
Anakin Skywalker.
Okay, perfect. We got that Knowles comp right away. Anakin Skywalker. But before the turn or after?
After, for sure. Actually, a little bit of both, because I'm a very compassionate guy. But once the what they call the wires crossed, it's a whole different guy.
And lastly, number one thing you're missing out on here in the States that you'd be able to have either back home or in Vancouver. I saw you reply to my tweet. You're missing out on Timmy.
My Timmies and my Smarties. Yeah, I know.
I got you covered on the last one. I got some Smarties for you.
I don't know if you ever had I think they're in the States, but Dad's cookies or Dad's oatmeal cookies. But a Tim Hortons, regular coffee with an everything bagel, toast and cream cheese, that is my go-to.
Ooh, I feel that. I'm a medium hot 2 and 2 type of guy, and you know what? I've never met a Timbit that I didn't like. So I feel you on that. Alex Nolan, thanks for the time, my friend. Certainly looking forward to your start tomorrow. And as always, appreciate you opening up. Always a pleasure chatting with you as we continue the Vancouver Canadians pregame show powered by North Beach Agency. Noel Nasty, thank you very much, my friend.
Thanks for having me.
We'll be back with more after this on the Sportsnet Radio Network.